So good morning to all. So yesterday actually we have seen the different again explore the different more interfacing regarding to the Arduino, just like we have seen the motion sensor interfacing, IR sensor interfacing, different types of analog sensor just like POT. Uh, Today one interfacing is remaining for Arduino, and then after that quickly we'll start with the Node MCU. Okay, so today we will more talk about the Internet of Things. So how we can send that data, our data that is generated from the different sensor to the cloud. So let me share you with my PPT. Okay, so in the next 5 to 10 minutes, we will complete this DHT11 interfacing. Okay. So DHT11, the long form of this sensor is digital humidity and the temperature sensor. Okay, so there are two variants of the DHT sensor, DHT11 and the DHT22. Okay, so out of that we are using 11. Okay, what is the difference between these two? I will quickly tell you. The DHT11 is the somewhat low cost sensor, and DHT22 is the having the price double than the DHT11. The main difference between the DHT11 and 22 is that the resolution. Okay, so here the DHT11 will give the temperature with the accuracy of 2 degree. Okay, with accuracy of 2 degree. But DHT22 you will give the same temperature reading with the accuracy of 0.5 degrees. So if you want the more accurate result of your temperature and the humidity, prefer the DHT22. Okay, so for the your projects, okay, if you want to use the temperature sensor in your project, then prefer the DHT22. DHT11 is for learning purpose, and if the somewhat the temperature doesn't matter for your 2 degrees Celsius temperature accuracy, it doesn't matter in your project. You just have to read the you just have to show the temperature, then DHT11 is for you. So DHT11 sensor is used to measure the temperature as well as humidity. So this is the sensor which will give the temperature as well as the humidity. It has the resistive humidity sensing component and NTC, that is negative temperature coefficient. 8-bit MCU is also connected, in which it is responsible for its fast response. It is very inexpensive, but it gives the value of both temperature and the humidity at a time. Okay, so let us let's give you the another temperature sensor like LM35. LM35 will give only temperature, but it will give the temperature in terms of the analog. Here using the DHT11 we will get the two types of the readings, temperature as well as humidity, and this will give in a digitally. Okay, so we don't require the ADC there. We don't require using the your digital pin. You can read the temperature as humidity, and here you require only single line to read the temperature and humidity, because this DHT11 is having its own MCU connected there. Pin out is very simple. There are two variants again. In one variant actually the last pin is the data pin, and in another variant actually the middle one is the data pin. Okay, so because of the different manufacturer actually they have kept this difference. VCC, data and ground. So just refer your DHT11 where the pin out is given, plus, out and minus, or it might be if S is given, then S is the signal pin, that is your data pin, and then after that it might be plus and it might be minus. Okay, so just you have to refer your DHT11 module, what type of module you are using there. Okay, so out is the pin where there you have to connect the your any digital IO pin of your Arduino. Okay, plus and minus, you know that plus is connected to VCC, minus connected to your ground. Now the speciality and the one advantage of using DHT11 is it can works on 3.3 volt power supply also, and it can also works on a 5 volt power supply also. So if you have the power supply of 3.3 volt, then it is okay. DHT11 also works on 3.3 volt. And if you have 5 volt, then it is also okay. Okay, so both power supply is supported by the DHT11 and 22. So interfacing is very simple again. Yes, data pin is connected to any digital pin. You can use the pin from pin number 2 to pin number 13. VCC is connected to VCC ground. A ground is connected to ground. Okay, so check your pin layout of DHT11 before connecting to Arduino power supply. If you connected that 5 volt to ground and ground to VCC, then your DHT11 will burn there. Okay, so it will not having the use there. So that's why I always check twice before connecting the wires. That is with what is the my plus pin, that is your VCC pin, and what is my ground pin. Okay, so first of all, connect the ground and VCC of DHT11 temperature and sensor to ground and 5 volt of Arduino. Then connect the data pin of DHT11 sensor to the pin number 2 of the Arduino. Okay, so just you need to do this connection. Then after that we go for the program. But before going for the program, actually you need to install some libraries, because when you install your new Arduino software, this library is not being installed in that IDE, so you have to add it manually. So there are two ways actually. You can add by online also, you can add by offline also. So this is the technique of having the offline. Okay, just you need to search these two zip files. Actually these zip files are available on your GitHub. So just type adafruit underscore sensor dash master dot zip, and on your Google you will get that zip file. Just download it, and then after that the second zip file is required, DHT sensor library master, this also required. And then after that, after having this zip file on your computer, just copy this zip file into your D drive or E drive, and then go for the sketch, include library, add dot zip library, and add it one by one. First add the Adafruit sensor master. Always add first one as a Adafruit sensor master. Okay, then second time add the DHT sensor library master. Okay, so this is the two library that you have to add it manually if you are downloading that zip file from your Google or from the GitHub. But if you don't want to go for the offline version, and if you want to go for the online version, then I will show you. Actually there is one managed library is there. Okay, so this, just click on sketch, include library, and the managed library is there. Click on that managed library. When you click on the managed library, actually that library is all the library will be displayed, and there is search tab is there. In that search tab, just type there Adafruit sensor master. That library will be there. Just install it. Then after that, DHT sensor library, just install it. Okay, so when you install all this library, then now you can go for your programming. So why we are generally adding this library? Because we are not going from the scratch. Okay, we are using the ready-made programs that is being already written by the DHT manufacturer. Okay, so that library we have to add it, and you can directly use it to read that your temperature and the humidity from your DHT11. So this is the program that you have to follow. So very first one is you have to include the library. Now you know that how to include library in your C and C++. Use the hash include and then space and then double quote. In a double quote, actually you just have to put dht.h. DHT should be in a capital case letter. dht.h. Okay, so this is the my library header file, so that I am including in my program. Then after that we need to define that where I have connected my data pin of my DHT11. So here in my program, actually I mentioned that DHT pin is 2. So it means that the data pin of DHT11 should be connected to IO pin 2, second IO pin. Okay, The next one is what is the type of my DST. You can also define one macro here, has defined DST type as a DST11. Okay, so you can directly put the DST11 here itself. Now after defining this DST pin and DST type, you now next one is just create a object, create a object of the DHT. Okay, so here we know that here this Arduino uses the C++ language. So we know that how to create an object in your C++. First use the class name DHT, then after that space, and then DHT is your object name, and then we are calling the constructor. In the constructor we are putting here, the first one is your DHT pin, so it is 2. Instead of DHT pin you can directly put 2 here, comma, DHT type is DHT11. So instead of writing DHT type you can put it directly DHT11 there. Okay, so here now you have the object ready with you, which is having the specification that my DST is connected to pin number 2, and what type of DST I'm using, DST11. Okay, so object is ready. Now go for the setup. Now in a setup function, serial begin 9600, then after that DST dot begin. Okay, now just like your serial dot begin, we start with the serial communication. Here also, if you want to initialize the DST, there are some initialization steps are there. That initialization steps are written into the begin function. You just need to call this begin function, which will create the initializing sequence of that DST. So just call DHT, use that object name dot begin. This is the function we are calling there. Okay, so setup function is complete. Now next go for the loop function. Now in a loop function, actually reading the humidity and temperature is very easy. So how to read humidity? Yeah, there is a ready-made function is there, read humidity function is there. So just use the object as a DHT object, DHT dot read humidity. H is capital. So DHT dot read humidity function you are calling. Now that humidity will be read and it will be written here, and we are storing that humidity in a float variable humidity. Okay, so here whatever that humidity is there, that is being copied into the humidity here. Okay, so and always remember that now you can read it in a float, you can read it in a your float value also. Now what is humidity? We know that it is the amount of moisture present in the air, amount of moisture present in the air. So whatever the moisture present currently, that is being transferred to this variable. Now next one is the read temperature. Now your DST dot read temperature will read the temperature, and it will read the temperature in a Celsius. Okay, so this function will return a Celsius temperature, and we are storing that Celsius temperature in a float variable. Now next one is serial dot print. Now next one is just your printing statement. Temperature is temp degree Celsius, and then humidity in percentage is, okay, percentage. Why percentage? Because it is the amount of the moisture present into the air, so it is in a percentage. So how much amount of water present in your air, so that is your humidity. So that is being printed here, humidity, and it is a percentage will be printed there. So this is a simple actually program. Quickly we will do the connection, and then after that we will type the program, and we will check out that is it working or not. Okay, so first I am opening my Arduino window. So I have already been typed that program. I'm not wasting the time to type the whole program. Okay, so this the hash include dst.h, dst pin 2, dst type is dst11, object make object dst pin dot dst type, then void setup serial dot begin 9600 dst begin, read humidity, read temperature. And now here one more step I have done here. If the okay, if the humidity, yeah, whatever the H is there, if it is not a number, if it is not a number, and if T is also not a number, then it will read the it will show the error as failed to read from the DHT sensor, and it will return from here itself. Okay, so what is this is NAN. So if there is some if the DHT11 is not working, or if DHT11 is damaged there, when you read this humidity or temperature, it will return a NaN. It will return a NaN, and that NaN will store into the H. Okay, so here we are checking that NaN means not a number. So this, if the H contains NaN and if T contains NaN, it means that there is a problem in your DHT11, and we are printing the error message that failed to read from DHT sensor. And then after, if it is not there, if the condition is false, then it will print out the humidity as well as the temperature in the Celsius, and we're putting the 2000 millisecond delay, that is 2-second delay. So after every 2 seconds, actually humidity and the temperature will get read there. Okay, so I will again show you where from you install that libraries from online. So go to Sketch, include library, and manage library. One new pop-up window will be there. Yeah, this is a library manager. Now in that library manager, actually, you just it will first update all the list of install libraries, and then you need to search the DHT. Okay. Yeah, this is a DHT sensor library. Okay, so you just need to install it. Okay, so if the new version is came, you can update it. And another is the Adafruit sensor library. First install the Adafruit sensor library, and then after that there are lots of sensors are there. So you need to search out that Adafruit sensor library from this list. So it might be at the last end. And then after that, you just have to install it. And after installing, now it is being ready to use. Now how to check that it is being successfully installed or not? Just click on the verify. If it will not give any error, then the library has been successfully installed. If there is an error, that is dht.h is not dht.h is not installed, then you need to again install it. So this is my Adafruit Unified Sensor. This is the library name, Adafruit Unified Sensor. So compilation is done. Now I'm going to upload my program. So first need to check here my Arduino Uno, yeah, perfectly selected, and my okay port is also selected. Just go for upload. Okay, so done uploading. Now next one is the we'll go for the connection. Okay, so this is my breadboard and this is my DHT11. So here when I see this DHT11, my out terminal is middle one. This left hand side is the plus and the right hand side is the -1. So I insert here. I'm taking one wire. Actually, I'm taking the red wire here for VCC. This is a red wire VCC, and I require one more wire for the ground. Okay, so this yellow wire I'm taking for ground, Okay, so first I'm connecting ground and second I'm connecting the 5 volt. Now next one is connect the out pin. So I have used the pin number 2 for the out. So I am connected the pin number 2 there. Pin number 2. Okay, so my connection is done. Now you can see my connection. Now again I'm going towards my desktop and just I need to open the serial monitor there. Okay, so because whatever the output is there, that will be, you will get on a serial monitor. So just open the serial monitor. Okay, so here what is the mistake? Because last print ln I have not put it here. So just I am again uploading my program. So this is the one message. After printing the one message, the last line should be print ln. So again serial monitor. So you can see here my humidity is 66% and the temperature is the 28 degree. So in my region actually the currently 28 degrees Celsius temperature is there. You can increase the temperature, you can increase the humidity by artificially also. Just any hot region, just put any hot region here and your temperature and humidity is varied here. Okay, so I'm increased the humidity by throwing some moisture from my mouth. Okay, so you can see when I throw my mouth moisture from the mouth, actually the humidity is increased to 95 degree. It increased up to the 95 degree. Temperature is also somewhat increased. Okay, so it is a very simple interfacing actually, DHT11 interfacing. Just you need to again try at your end. Now again, after some time, the humidity is again decreased. Yes, okay. So if you have the DST22 with you, just you need to put it here DST22, just, and your program is done. So I'm saving this program as save as DST underscore NHC. So all this program will be available on my GitHub page after this HTTP. I'm uploading all the program on my GitHub page. You can download all the program from my GitHub page. Okay, so this is the DST11. So you can instead of putting that into your serial, you can also put the temperature and humidity on the LCD also. So this is my LCD output. So there we don't require the computer to see the output. So LCD, just put the LCD there. Yes, done. Okay, so any doubt in this DST11? Yes, any doubt? So if you have any doubt, just let me clear your doubts. Otherwise, just type no doubt. And we'll start with the new topic, that is Node MCU. Okay. So these first 2 days are generally, we have introduced the different sensors, digital sensor, analog sensor, how to interface this sensor. The interfacing part is very, very easy. Actually, connection part is also very easy. Just you need a more practice. just purchase this hardware from the local store and just do more practice on this. So we'll start with the new topic, and that is the Node MCU again. Okay, so what is Node MCU? It is MCU, Node MCU. Node MCU is referred as a ESP8266 Node MCU version 1.0 ESP12E Wi-Fi module. Okay, so it is a long name, but most of time we are only referring as a Node MCU. Okay, so it what is the benefit of using this? It is also supported. It is also supports the your Arduino. That is a very important thing. It means that through the Arduino software, actually we can also do the program of this ESP8266. Okay, and again it is having the inbuilt Wi-Fi module also. Now there is again one development board is there, ESP8266 development board. There the Bluetooth is also there, Wi-Fi and Bluetooth both are included there. Okay, so but whatever the model is available with me is having only the Wi-Fi inbuilt. So today we are going to see how to use the Wi-Fi in it, and how to upload our sensor data to the cloud, as well as how to control some devices through the Wi-Fi, that we are going to see there. Okay, and can be used as a Wi-Fi enabled replacement for Arduino in many application. Okay, suppose you need to control through the Wi-Fi, then just replace Arduino Uno with the Node MCU. Okay, and again the space of this Node MCU again very small. Space is also small, so where the space matter, you can also replace the your Arduino Uno with the Node MCU. These are some key features of Node MCU version 1.0. Its microcontroller name is ESP8266, 32-bit microcontroller is there. Its clock speed is the 80 megahertz clock speed, so it is faster than your Arduino Uno, because Arduino Uno that is at Mega 328P, that is works on 16 megahertz only. So this ESP8266 is faster than the USB converter is given there. It is CP2102. It is small size SMD package. USB connector is the micro USB. It is having the same connector that you are using for your charging to your Android phone. Okay, so that same micro USB connector is using which we can download a program, or we can give the power to this Node MCU. The operating voltage is again 3.3 volt, so it is again very beneficial. Your Arduino Uno works on 5 volt, and Node MCU work on 3.3 volt, so it is a low power consumption device. So flash memory is 4 MB only, so you can say that it is again one of the advantage. 4 megabyte of the your 4 megabyte of the flash memory is there, as compared to actually Uno is only having the 32 kilobytes of flash memory. Digital IO is available. Digital IO is 11 digital IO available, where this Arduino Uno having the 14 digital IO available. So this is, you can say, it is one of the drawback. And the second one is the again one of the limitation is it is having only one analog input pin. Though your Arduino Uno is having 6 analog in A0 to A5, here this is having only A0 pin. That is only one analog input pin is there. It supports the different communication protocol like serial, SPI, I2C, and one wire protocol through the software. Okay, one wire protocol can be implemented using the software only. So I2C also it supports, SPI also it supports. Your Arduino Uno also support the SPI, Arduino Uno also support the I2C also. Okay. Wi-Fi is built in 802.11b/g/n. Okay, b/g/n. So this is the one of specification of the Node MCU. And this is the pin description. Pin description, you can see, because it is a very small in size, actually you require this pin description to be remembered. It start with the D0, D0, D1, D2, D3, D4. This D0 to D4 or the D0 to D8. Okay, these pins are the your IO pin. These are known as the IO pins. Okay, the name is given as digital pin. Okay, T represent digital IO, A represent analog IO. Okay, so its name is D0 as well as the another name is the GPIO16. The GPIO16 is the name of that same pin, but when you refer the IC specification, then the name of that pin is GPIO16. But when you refer the your node MCU specification in your Arduino, then the name is D0 pin. Okay, so if you are using if you want to use that D0 pin, either you have to use D0 or instead of that we can use the directly pin number that is 16. Instead of D0 you can put there 16 there. Okay, so 16 also acceptable, D0 is also acceptable. Okay, so just need to remember this difference, D0 to D4. Then two power supply pins are there, 3.3 volt and ground. Okay, two power supply pins, again D5, D6, D7, D8, and then RX and TX are there. Okay, RX TX pin is separately there. This is for the transmission and the reception of serial communication. Okay, the one A0 pin is there, that is the ADC0, that is which is the only one analog pin. RSV pin are the reserve pin. The GPIO pins are more than two GPIO pins are there, but this MO, SI, CS, MISO, CS, CLK, this is for the your SPI. Okay, it is a serial peripheral interface. This is the serial communication protocol. These are the 4 pin required for that SPI protocol. Okay, then again a power supply there, ground and 3.3 volt. Now there are 3 power supplies given. Power lines out is given. These are the outlines. Okay, so 3.3 volt ground 3.3 volt, and here also ground at 3.3 volt. So 3 VCC pin and 3 ground pin is given there. EN reset is there. Then this is the last one is the ground and V in. This is for the giving the input supply through the battery. Okay, so if you have the battery of 9 volt and if you want to give it to your node MCU, directly you can provide that 9 volt to V in. Okay, so it accepts from 5 volt to 9 volt. 12 volt also I have connected, but when you connect the 12 volt, actually it's a regulator get heated. Okay, so I prefer the 9 volt power supply to V in here. Okay, this is the reset button and the flash button. Actually flash button is not required. Flash button is generally used to upload the program, but here actually we are using Arduino, so automatically it get internally it get press that flash button and reset button. Okay, so software reset generally it is being used. So, and this one in between the RST and flash, this is the USB pin, and this is my patch antenna where it can be used for connecting to the Wi-Fi. Okay, so this is my pin description of a ESP8266. You must require this while doing your connection. Okay, so but directly you can't do directly a programming of this node MCU. If you have the Arduino install, just go to the tools, and there is a board is there. Just search the ESP82. There is no ESP8266 or node MCU board is available. So what you need to do there, you need to open the preferences. You need to go there, additional board manager, and you need to put this URL there. You have to put the URL as it is, http://arduino.esp8266.com/table/package_esp8266com_index.json. This JSON file is generally contains all the boards. So that's why this on the additional board manager, you have to put this URL, and then after that you need to go to the tools and then your boards, and on a board manager you just need to install the ESP8266. Okay, I will quickly show you that steps. Okay, so this is my Arduino. Actually, in my Arduino already that being installed, ESP82C already installed. But in your case, if it is not installed, how to check it? 1 minute. I need to. Okay. So in my case, actually the ESP8266 is being installed, but in your case, you just need to go to tools, just go to boards. In your case, actually, these only boards are available. This ESP8266 board is not available. Okay, so how to bring it that boards in your computer? So just go to the Arduino, go to preferences. After the preferences, go for the additional board manager. Okay, you just need to go there, additional board manager. There you can see here additional board manager, and here in your case actually this is empty. This is empty. Now here you need to put this URL. You need to put this URL there. Okay, so put the URL, copy this URL, paste this URL to here, just press OK. After that you need to press just OK button. Okay, after OK, go to the tools, go to the board, and then board manager. It will download the new board definition from that JSON file now that we have recently added. Now just type here ESP8266. Okay, so just type ESP8266, and in my case it is installed, so that's why it is remove button will come. But in your case actually here instead of remove there is an install button is there. Just click on the install. It requires 10 to 15 minutes to download all the boards to your computer. The size is might up to the 150 MB. All the boards take the size of 150. So download it depending on your internet speed there. Okay, so how much time is required to download all the board definition? So once that all the board definition has downloads, now again to check, again go to the tools, go there boards, and now this new tab will be there, ESP8266 board, and out of that we need to select the Node MCU 1.0. Okay, so when you are selecting Node MCU 1.0, again go to tools, and now see here the more advanced properties is came here. Do not change any of this property. Do not change any of this property. Just you need to change the port property here. We need to change the port property. So here what I need to do here, okay, so this is my ESP8266. You can see on my camera, this is my ESP8266. So this is my cable, USB cable. This is my USB cable. I'm connecting this USB cable to my computer. I have connected. Now let's see, there's a new port is available. Yes, you can see here new port is available, that SLAB_USB to UART converter. Okay, so this is the new port. In your case might be the name is no, if in case of Windows operating system it is the COM10, COM15, any COM port, or in case of Linux operating system the same thing will be appeared there. Okay, /dev/ I think /dev/USB. Okay, so this setting you have to do first. Node MCU ESP. Always remember this one, Node MCU 1.0 you have to select, and then after that port. Okay, so just done. My setting has done. Now I need to check this board. The board is correct or not, or it is being properly working or not. So how to check? So very simply, you need to go to examples, go to the examples, Go to examples, go to basics, and then blink. Very simple. There is a built-in LED is there, which is connected to D2 pin here. Actually, on your Arduino, you know, it is connected to pin number 13, but here it is connected to D2. So directly the name is given LED underscore built-in. You first check that you have selected the proper board and port, and then just upload the sketch. Upload the sketch. It is only for checking purpose. My board is properly installed or not, and my Node MCU hardware is properly working or not. Now you can see here it is connecting and it is writing 41%, 50%, 58%, 66, 75, 83, 91, and 100%. Okay, so and reset, and now you can see. Okay, are you able to see my? You can see here that built-in LED start blinking. This is my built-in LED. That built-in LED start blinking now. It is connected to D2 pin. Got it? Okay, so this is the we have done the check, that is Node MCU is properly installed or not, Node MCU hardware is correct or not. So this is the thing that we have done here. Now the next one is the one program that we are going to take is the how to control the LED. So here one LED is connected, and that LED I have to control through the Wi-Fi. Okay, through the Wi-Fi or through my computer or through my mobile, which is connected to Wi-Fi. Okay, so where from you get the program? Actually, program is somewhat long, so I am not going to type directly. I am taking that program from my GitHub page. So this is my GitHub page, github.com/ArdinoGanesh/ESP8266. Actually, if you visit the Arduino Ganesh repository, there are the lots of repositories are there. First one is your Arduino. In the Arduino, actually, a lot of the IONO file is given. Most of the interfacing is covered here. Most of interfacing is covered. So you can check out that interfacing. And here also that zip file is also there. Adafruit sensor master and DST sensor library. These two zip file you can also download from my repository. Now you require the ESP8266. So this one, go for ESP8266. So there are the 5 to 6 program here. So I require first one as a LED web server program. Okay, so this is my program that has been already being written by me. It is somewhat long program, so just I'm copy. I will explain this program. So just copy this program, copy it, and go to Arduino, create a new file. Create a new file and just paste it here. So when you paste it here, actually some things you need to modify. Okay, so first is the SSID. Okay, so SSID means your Wi-Fi SSID. Okay, so you can see here my Wi-Fi SSID is GB Softronics. Okay, so just I need to put it this GB Softronics. Here my Wi-Fi password. Giving here my Wi-Fi password. Okay, then Wi-Fi server is okay. Now this is the SSID and password to which your ESP8266 are going to connect there. Okay, now you need to start a server there. Now what is the aim of my program is I need to control one LED which is connected here on my breadboard through the Wi-Fi, other Wi-Fi connected device, or through my computer or through my mobile also. Okay, but the connection here there is no internet required. Here only the Wi-Fi is required. Only local LAN connection through the wireless LAN connection is required here. I'm not control that LED through the internet. So here we need to create a server. That server is created on this device, ESP8266 device. Then we start with the serial.begin 11520. This is very important because the baud rate of this ESP8266 is by default it is as a 115200. So always make the begin the serial communication is 115200. If you have noticed that upload speed is also 115200. Okay, then delay 10, then pin mode LED comma output. Okay, now LED is connected to D2 pin. LED is connected to D2 pin. Now that is output, and by default it is low. By default it is low. So it means that when you start your ESP8266, by default it is low. Then firstly we need to connect to the SSID and password. So I am just printing here SSID, connecting to this SSID, and we start the Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi.begin is the function which is generally used to connect to the Wi-Fi to this ESP8266. So Wi-Fi.begin, just give the two arguments. First one is your SSID, second is your password. Now next one is your while Wi-Fi.status is not equal to WLAN underscore connected. So if the Wi-Fi status is not connected, then you have to wait until the Wi-Fi status is connected. So it is a, you can say it is a blocking call where you require to wait until the Wi-Fi has been connected, because we know that for connection of Wi-Fi actually we require some time. Your server will take some time. Okay, so there is some handshaking signals are there, that's why we have to wait it here. So we always wait it for 0.5 seconds when there is no connection is there. It is if the Wi-Fi status has turned WL underscore connected, then it will go out of this loop and we will printing the Wi-Fi connected. We print the Wi-Fi connected. Okay, so when we are getting the Wi-Fi connected on your serial monitor, you can see that my Wi-Fi is successfully connected. Now next one is we have to begin the server, because we already had made the server, and the port number is 80. Port number is 80 means we are going to use here HTTP port. Okay, HTTP port we are going to use here. So server.begin, we have started the server. Server started is the message, and then use this URL to connect to this particular ESP8266. So we are printing the local IP address of your ESP8266. Okay, this is very important, because if you don't know the ESP8266 IP address, then we can't able to connect to that. So that's why we are printing it on the setup function itself. Okay, now next one is loop function. Now in the loop function, actually we are waiting for client. Okay, we are waiting for client. If the client is available, okay, if the, now we know that here server.available is the blocking call. When the client is available, then if the no client is there, then we have to return. Otherwise, if there is a new client is available, that is if someone has connected to your ESP8266, then we have to go to the next and we have to read its request. We have to read the request. Now what is that particular contains? Request contains, request contains is totally depending on what we are sending from client to server. Okay, so we will see here response. Okay, this is the response to the client. When any client is connected, what I'm sending there, I'm sending here one HTML file. You can see here the HTML file. It start with the HTML, end with the HTML, and we'll simply give the two buttons here, two button. First button contains the H reference as a slash LED equal to on, and second button is having the H reference as LED is equal to off. Okay, so and the name of that button is turn on and turn off. Okay, so when you click on the turn on, this string will be passed to your server. When you click on this button turn off, this string will be passed to your server, and here we are checking that what is that request. So which button your client has been pressed. If the client has pressed the, if it is LED equal to on, okay, if you receive that LED equal to on as a H reference, then we are on the LED. Very simple. Digital write LED comma high. Otherwise we have to off the LED. If you receive the LED is equal to off and value equal to low. Okay, so very simple. And after that we have to print the client disconnected. So we need to check it again and again. So that's why we're putting all the statement into the loop function. So these statements are continuously executing. There are some blocking calls there until the client is not available. It will still waiting here. If the client is available, then this the web page will be displayed and it will waiting for the its response. If the response is LED equal to on, LED pin, that is your D2 will be high, otherwise D2 will be low. Very simple program, long program, but very simple to understand here. Okay, so I'm going to upload this program. First check it which board is selected, proper board, Node MCU 1.0, port is also proper selected, and then just I am pressing my upload button. So first I'm saving that web LED underscore NHC. I'm uploading my program. It requires some more time for compilation as well as uploading. Meanwhile, I am doing the connection D2 and ground. Okay, so it's still compiling. Now it's start uploading. It's uploading 76, 84, 92 and 100%. Okay, and reset. Okay, so now my board is ready to use. Now I'm starting the serial port. I need to change the baud rate. It is 115200. Close it, again open it and press the reset button once. When you press the reset button, so it start with the from the first line. Okay, so here we get the IP address of my ESP8266. It is 192.168.1.104. 104. So just 192.168.1.104. So what I'm going doing here, I'm going to the this Google Chrome. Open the new tab and just I'm typing the 192.168. What is that address? It is 1.104. So where is it? Where it is 1.104. Okay. Okay. So you can see here as a response actually I have get this web page. The 192.168.1.104 is the IP address of my Node MCU. This web page has been transferred from that Node MCU. Now, if you see my screen video camera, okay, so here LED is off. You can see here LED is off. Now what I'm doing here, I am click on the turn on button. When you click on the turn on button, now you can see here LED is on here. LED make on, and now the LED pin is now on. Okay, you will also get the status here. Now if you want to make it off, again press the turn off button and your LED make a LED is now off, and you can also get the status of that LED, that is it is off. Okay, so very simple. So you can control it through the your Wi-Fi connected laptop, or even you can also control it through the mobile also. If possible, I can show you. Okay, so this is my mobile iPhone. So I'm opening my Google Chrome. It is 192.168.1.104. So if everything is fine, actually, it should show me the same result here. http:// So if that all the Wi-Fi connected or the local LAN connected device, from that device actually you can control that LED. Now this is the only one LED I have controlled. Now your assignment is you just modify the program to control the 2 LED or 3 LED, or ask to your student that just modify the same program, add some lines only, and just control the 2 or 3 LED. So it is not loading, the web page is not loading. Yeah, due to some security reasons of that iPhone, actually it is not allowed to load that web page to my mobile. Okay, so but leave it. The same thing I have already shown to you on my computer. Okay, so using the IP address, actually you can turn on the light, or you can turn off the light. Okay, so very simple. Okay, so any doubt in this? So any doubt in this LED control? No. Okay, no. Okay, so the next one is actually we are going to control, we are going to upload the sensor value. Okay, we are going to upload the sensor value to the one of the cloud. Okay, the cloud that I'm going to use is your ThingSpeak cloud. ThingSpeak cloud. Okay, so for ThingSpeak cloud, you need to go there, go to the website thingspeak.com. You need to create your login there, sign up there. It requires some verification, email verification. After some email verification, now your sign in is there. Just use the your username and the password to sign in. After sign in, actually this type of the window will be there. If there is no channel is available, in case of firstly login, there is no channel is available. So channel represent your project. Okay, how many project you are doing there, so how many uploads you are doing there. So if you want to create a new upload, then create a new channel and just give the new name here, demo channel. Okay, give the name again, description as a demo channel. Okay, now the fields represent how many sensors are there in your project. Actually, how many sensors you are interfacing. Okay, these are all of the sensors value. Okay, so suppose I'm going to upload only the two sensor value, that is first one is the temperature and the second one is the humidity. Okay, first one is temperature and the second is humidity. Okay, field one is temperature and the field two is the humidity. The remaining field is not mandatory. You can leave it as it is, and just you need to click on the save channel button. When there is save channel button is there, you will get your channel will get a channel ID. Okay, and now it is private. If it is private, then for viewing this channel, actually you need to log in. So better to public it. So how to public? So click on the sharing and just click on the share channel view to everyone. Okay, when you click on the share channel view to everyone, then now it become a public. Now you can see here my access become a public there. Okay, this is my public view and this is my private view. Okay, so go to the public view. Now we can see here if we have selected the two fields here, so whatever the data is coming here, that you will get it here. If the temperature I have uploaded as a 28-degree, so you will get a 28-degree dot at the 28-degree here. Humidity is suppose 74-degree, then you will get a dot at the 74-degree. And at what interval you need to upload the next data. Your ThingSpeak, if you want to use free of cost, then in between the two uploads, the time should be minimum 15 seconds. It should be minimum 15 seconds, but better to have a 20 second in between the two uploads. So one upload at the 1 second, so next upload will be at the 21 second only. Okay, so after every upload, wait for the 20 second, and then only if you are uploading with the rate of the 1 second, then the 14 values will not be uploaded. 14 value is discarded there because you are using a free version of your ThingSpeak. If you want the real time value, then you need to use the you need to purchase its license. So it is a commercial use license, so it's costlier. So for learning purpose only, just give the in between the two uploads, give the time of the 20 second. Okay, so this is the setting that we have to do. Next thing is what we need here. We need the API keys. Okay, API keys. These API keys are generally required to write the data into your channel, and also there is one read API key which is used to read your data from your channel. Okay, so this is without authentication. Actually, if you want to give the permission to the another user, that user should have the API key with them. Okay, so using that API key only, it can get the value. Okay, so how to write into the channel? Very simple. So here that some API request is there. Okay, so if you want to write into the channel, this is the syntax. This is the syntax. First we will check without node MCU. So how to check it? Just copy this, and go to the new tab, and here field one is temperature. So I am setting a temperature as 30 degree, and FIELD 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 2 I am setting as a suppose 78. Okay, so manually also you can insert that data. So this is the way to insert the manually. This is only for testing. Just enter, you will receive one here. You will receive one means this is the data number one. This data number one. Okay, if you receive 100, so it means that 99 data is already present. Okay, so is it inserted or not? If you want to check it, just go there, channel, go to the public view and see your flow, see your channel. Now you can see here temperature is 30 and the humidity is 78. So using the get method, you can insert the data. Again, I'm checking for the second data. So same link, but now I am making my temperature 32 degree and the humidity as 80 degree. So I just have to wait for 10 to 15 seconds. I think it is already being over. So just enter. Now you can see here 2 is there. I have received 2. So it means that my data has been successfully written, and now you can check it here. If it is not reflected, you have to refresh it. Now it is reflected. So firstly is 30, now it is 32. If first it is 78, now it is 80. So what we need to do here, we need to throw this URL through the ESP8266, and whatever this data that we have to get from your temperature sensor on the humidity sensor, temperature and humidity sensor. So got this point? Getting this point? You can also, if any one of you is helping me, I am copy this URL. Sorry. I'm copying this URL into the chat window. Any one of you has to be copy this and just place it. Open a new tab and just change that field 1 and field 2 value, and we'll see at your end if you are modifying also it is being reflecting or not. Anyone is doing? Anyone is helping me? At your end, copy this. Yes, I receive the same data I have received 32 and 80. Just change the data a little bit. And we'll see live that data has been modifying or not. Yes. Now the 83 temperature, it is very hot. Okay. And the humidity is 80. Okay, so at your end you are modifying. It means that anywhere you have placed that node MCU, that real-time data you can get it on your ThingSpeak portal. Yes, are you getting? Now this, if you have this URL with you, you can upload that data from anywhere. You can upload the data from your computer, you can upload data from your Node MCU, you can upload your data from your Arduino Uno also. Only thing is that your node should be connected to internet. Yes, yes, thank you. Now I'm getting the different data. Okay, so only 15 minutes remaining. So I will not doing this project right now. We will quickly execute this project at the afternoon session. Whatever the things required for implementing this project into your Node MCU will start exactly at 2 o'clock. And now this data you are adding, now next data will be added by the Node MCU. Whatever the current temperature and humidity is there, that data will be added by your Node MCU. Okay, so meanwhile, if you have the Node MCU with you, you can use this method, you can use this program. Okay, so here actually I have done the pot. Okay, pot I have used, but instead of pot you need to add some statement, dst hash input dst.h dst.begin, some statement you have to add, and instead of putting that data, here this one, sensor data. Okay, slash update colon API key equal to, and that API key, and field 1 is equal to sensor data. So here you need to put here temperature, and field 2 equal to humidity. Okay, so these things you need to modify here. Okay, so if you are from CSE department, actually it is you require the very less time to modify this program. Okay, so just refer my GitHub page, github.com/arduinoganesh/esp8266 for further programs. Okay, so any doubt? So any doubt in this? So what we have done, we have controlled the LED through the web server. We have created the web server on your Node MCU, and we have controlled it through the computer, through its IP address. Yeah, it is very, very easy actually. Once you are doing this practical, you will see the complexity of these practicals. Okay, so all these videos are recorded, and you can see, if you can see repeatedly. If any steps you are not understanding, see the video repeatedly again and again. Okay, so we'll stop here. We will meet at the exactly 2 o'clock, and we'll start with the first implementation of this one, and then more interfacing we will do on using the Node MCU. Yes, Gangadhar sir, feedback link